Today, I have for you a bar workout at the bar and on the mat that's total body utilizing 2 yoga blocks. This is the Bennie Bar Pilates Studio. So grab your bar or a chair and, of course, your yoga blocks. We're going to place one down on the ground in a horizontal position, and we're going to step our feet on parallel. So our big toes should be touching each other here. If you need more space, put 2 blocks up against each other. We're going to releve and then lower down. So we're going to releve, lift those heels, and let the heels sink down past the yoga block. This is where it comes in handy to hold on to something that's secure, because we are going to let our heels sink back and the yoga block will roll forward naturally at the front. Releve, lift, and then extend back. So we're really working through those calves and then getting a big stretch on the way back. Now we're going to go into a prance. One heel lifts, and we're going to lift up into the releve and switch. Lift into releve and switch. Just like we were doing before, we're going to lift into that releve, and then one heel is going to sink lower than the block. So we're lifting, working the calves, and stretching. Nice and gentle. Try not to bounce here. Think about lifting, reaching, and pressing. Now reach those heels back and away. Hold on tightly to your bar, whatever you're hanging on to, and really stretch back those calves. They don't need to be touching the heels to the ground here, but reaching away in that direction to stretch. Now we're going to take some releves in first position. So we're going to use 2 blocks, and we're going to bring them in like this in a turnout position. So just lay them down like that on the floor so that when you step on them, you can bring your heels together, but there's still room so your toes are on the blocks, but your heels can extend below the blocks. And again, releve and lower the heels, lifting up into that releve and letting them sink down and stretch. So as we lift into releve, we're coming much higher than lifting them directly off the floor, making those calves work a little bit harder and getting a nice stretch. This really makes a difference, and you're going to feel it in your calves as opposed to just doing releves flat from the floor. Now into that prance. So we'll lift one knee, lift and switch, lift into releve and press one heel down. One knee bends out to the side, lifting and switching. Good, making sure not to really bounce with this, but rather pressing and lifting and switching. Now stretching back. Let those heels sink down in this first position towards the floor and send the hips back a little bit to balance. Great. Now we're going to go ahead and take our blocks a little bit wider because we're going to bring our feet into second position, really getting those calves from all different angles here. So again, the feet are on the block, the heels are extending backwards so you can get a big stretch. We're going to lift up into that releve and then let the heels sink down and lower towards the floor. Lift and lower. Big work, big stretch. Keep it going here, making sure to breathe and send oxygen to those calves, which are inevitably getting a little bit sore by this point. Now switching into that prance. I'm going to switch back and forth. Lift both heels into releve and send one down, one up. One knee coming out to the side. Now stretch those heels back and away, send the hips back a little bit, and let the calves stretch. Now we're going to grab just one block, and we're going to switch it to be facing in a vertical position right here. And we're going to step one foot onto it. Now, if your feet happen to be a little bit bigger than mine, I have quite small feet. You can line up 2 blocks here if your foot doesn't fit comfortably on top of that yoga block. Otherwise, step it up right here. One foot is parallel facing forward. We're going to keep the legs parallel, break the knee up, and then we're going to come and lunge back. Take the knee up, body nice and tall, and then we're going to lunge back with that knee just hovering off the ground. lunging back, and we're going to exhale, press out of that standing leg to bring us nice and tall. Reach back into that lunge and lifting up. We're going to do a lot of balancing work and really working through that standing leg here, but don't be afraid to hold onto a bar or the back of a chair for a little bit of support and balance. As we come back into that lunge, we want to send that back flat. Chest is coming down forward, reaching back, and then coming up nice, straight and tall, and pull that knee up tall. Making sure that we're not crunching through the body as we bring the knee up, but keeping it nice and tall. Take the leg out to the side here. We're going to step out now into a squat and lift it back up. So step out into a squat, lifting up, so thinking about keeping flat back, open chest, and bringing up. As we come into the squat, we really have to push off of that leg that's on the standing block to bring us all the way back up with our knee extended. Squatting down, exhale as we press up. Squat down and press up. Good. Keep it going right there. Nearly finished. And we're going to switch feet. So now driving that knee straight up. Make sure that the knee is in line with the hip and it's not extended out to the side. So as we lunge back, we're going to draw right back in. So that knee's just hovering off of the floor. Your shin parallel to the floor as you come back and draw the knee into the front. Really pushing off of this standing leg. We've got a lot of cushion and support with that block, and because we're lifted off the floor, we've got some range of motion that we normally wouldn't have. Normally our leg would be touching the floor if we weren't on that block. Bringing it back and lifting forward. Good. Making sure not to collapse through that body, but keeping it nice and tall. Now we're going to step off into that squat to the side and lift that knee right back up. Keeping a lot of control through the body here. And lifting up. Good, so we hinge at the hips and bring it back up and tall. Chest leans forward as we come down into that squat and press off of that standing leg to rise back up, lifting the knee. And bring that leg down. Take a moment for a little stretch here. You can come into a flat back tabletop, or you can stretch more deeply through the legs if you need it. Moving right along, we're going to turn with our left hand to a bar and place our left foot on the block. Now we're going to bring our right outside leg into passe, and then we're going to lean forward and reach back to arabesque. Passe, with a foot just coming to the outside of the knee and then reaching forward. You can involve your arm here as well, lifting up high above the head and reaching out forward and coming back to passe. We're just taking 5 here in this position, reaching back up. And now reach out into that arabesque and hold it right here. From here, we are going to lower the leg and lift. So we're going to lower the leg, toe taps down and lift right back up. Lower down, squeeze back up. Good. Lower and lift. Being elevated on this block means that we've got a larger range of motion here. Really engage those glutes, squeeze the leg up, lower and lift. Don't rush this here. Engage the muscle. Take it nice, slow, and controlled. Good. And bring that body up. We're going to switch and come around to the other side. Inside foot is your standing leg and outside leg is your working leg. Good. We're going to come to passe and extend flat back arabesque, reaching through the hand and reaching through the leg. If it's too much to have your arm extended, you can go ahead and bring that down and place it on your hip. Otherwise, reach through the body, lifting up passe and lengthening, reaching out. Hold right here, and we're going to lower and lift that leg. Bring that toe down towards the floor and lift. Lower and lift. Make sure not to lock out your standing leg that's on the block. We don't want to lock out that knee. So if you can give it a little gentle micro bend and watch yourself that you're not extending back into a lock there. Nice, slow and controlled. Engage that glute. Lengthen through that pointed toe. Think about stretching the leg across the room and lifting the body up. Stepping down. I'm definitely getting warm by this point and needing a little costume change. Now we're going to take our inside foot to the block and we're going to have our feet in turnout. So our knee is turned out, hip is open, and we're going to lift the leg and lower. Lift and lower. Coming to the front right here. We're going to take 10 in each direction, coming to the front and also to the side. Making sure to keep the abdominals scooped in and up. Coming to the side here, we don't want our body to be crunching to the side. We want to keep it as stable as possible so only the leg is moving. Again, we can keep a nice pointed toe and be reaching here because of our elevated foot. Making sure the foot on the block is slightly turned out as well as the working leg. Good. Now we're going to bring everything parallel. So turn that block so that your foot is coming parallel and your front working leg that's extended is going to come parallel as well. You can stay with a pointed foot. I'm going to switch here to a flex through the heel. Active flex and bringing this forward, really working heavily through the quad here. Drawing that belly in and up, keeping the chest nice and wide and not allowing yourself to C-curve or collapse through it. Coming to the side, again flexing through that foot, keeping the foot parallel and lifting here. So we're not turning the knee up to the sky here, we're keeping the toes facing forward and working a different direction through our legs. Good, time to switch sides. Bringing the feet in, turn out, so we're going to slightly turn that block out. And we've got an external rotation, so we're starting in a Pilates V right here. Pointing through the toe, we're going to lift to the front. Drawing in and up here, nice tall upper body. And now coming to the side. Maintaining that external rotation. And now coming parallel. Toes facing forward on both feet, flex through the working leg heel, and we're going to lift to the front. Again, really paying attention that we're not hunching our shoulders and crunching through our body here, but keeping it nice and lifted, using those muscles to lift the leg. Really concentrate on the exhalation to draw the leg up. Coming to the side now, knee is still facing forward, flexing through the heel. Good, and go ahead and step down. We're moving down to the floor now, so grab your mat and both of your blocks. Before we start moving, we're going to find our neutral pelvis. So put the feet onto the mat, knees coming up towards the ceiling, and we want the pubic bone to be in line with the hip bones. And we don't want to compromise that neutral pelvis while we're working. Go ahead and slide one leg into tabletop and the other one. So we've got the block resting in tabletop. We're going to take that opposite arm and press into the block. And then our free arm and leg, we're going to reach out long and away and return to tabletop. Good, so as we're doing this, our left leg and right arm are moving and our right leg and left arm are pressing into each other. That hand is pressing into the block and the leg is engaged, pressing into the block as well. Maintaining this neutral pelvis, so we're not gaining any extra air underneath the back, but we're keeping a neutral pelvis and a neutral spine. It's time to switch sides. So right here, we're going to take that block over to your left leg. Your right arm is going to come across. Press into the block with the leg, press into the block with your arm, and then we're going to take that opposite arm, opposite leg, and reach out long and come back in towards tabletop. Good. Trying to match your movement with your breath. We're going to exhale as we reach away. Inhale, return. Exhale, reach and extend. Inhale, return. Maintaining neutral pelvis. last one right there. Go ahead and place the block between the knees and squeeze in using those adductor muscles. And hold the block between your two hands and squeeze in. Now we're going to do a little play off of the double leg stretch. So we're going to reach the legs away towards 45 degrees and reach the arms up overhead, making sure not to sway through the spine and holding that neutral pelvis. If this is too much to take away towards 45 degrees, you can send the legs straight up towards 90 degrees here. Keeping that connection, squeezing the block with the knees and squeezing the block in between the hands, making the legs and the arms work a little bit harder as we reach away. Now right here, lift up the head, neck, and shoulders. Gaze is coming towards the block. If this is too challenging, go right back to the exercise we were just doing. Exhale as we reach away. Inhale, take that block and tap it over top of your knee block. Good. Keep it up right here, reaching away, matching this movement to the flow of your breath. Make sure that you keep breathing and that you're not holding tension in your face and holding your breath here. Good. Now right here, a little change. We're going to give a little extra crunch forward. So we're going to roll the legs up as we crunch forward even deeper, reaching in more. So we'll kind of come back to that tabletop position and then crunch forward right here. Keep it up, maintaining that connection to our core. As we crunch forward, the pelvis is coming out of neutral, rolling up, and then returning. Great. Go ahead and release. Switching directions here and taking the focus towards our arms, we're going to place our yoga blocks flat down on the ground at their lowest level. And we're going to come into a nice plank position. You can take push-ups here, keeping the elbows close to the body, or you can reach long and away and do full push-ups. So we'll just continue here. If you need to drop to the knees, do so. Exhale, pressing up. Good. Keep a long length through the body. And while we're thinking about taking our forehead or our nose down towards the mat, we're keeping our neck in line with the spine and not dipping the head to make that happen. We're also allowing our chest to press down further than we would if we were on the ground with our hands elevated here. And also the cushioning of the blocks makes that feel really nice on the wrists. Go ahead and take the knees wide, the width of the mat. We're going to reach back into a rest pose right here. We'll take a little bit of a stretch before we go into a little bit more arm work. Now take the right hand and place it onto your left block, and the left arm, thread the needle, stretch underneath the body, and reach through. If this is too much of an opening, you can keep that right hand on the right block. I like that opening there. So again, we'll take the left hand to the right block, and the right hand will stretch underneath our body, taking this to the other side. Opening up through the upper body and stretching. Good. Next, we're going to just come right back into that child's pose. One last stretch. This feels really nice with the hands elevated up on that block. You can also rearrange your blocks to take them up higher if you like. Now bringing the knees in a little bit more narrow, go ahead and rest the forehead down and take the arms back behind, palms facing up towards the sky. Couple of gentle, calming breaths right here before we proceed with a little bit more arm work. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. Good, go ahead and bring it up. Placing the hands flat on the block again, we're going to go ahead and push up into our plank position. We're going to shift the body weight forward and chaturanga down, holding our body in between that block. Nice straight line. This feels amazing to do with a little bit of elevation, and we're just gonna hold here about 20 seconds, or as long as you can. Whenever you need to lower down, go ahead and do so, and then press the upper body into swan, as I'm doing right here, extending the chest, thinking about keeping the shoulders rolled down and away from the ears, nice long neck of a swan, and nice rounding through the spine. And now pressing back into that rest pose. And coming right back up into your plank, lowering down, chaturanga, hold the body. This is very low towards the mat, but it is lifted off the mat. So right here, no part of my body is making contact with the mat besides my toes and my hands on the blocks. Holding here, challenge yourself to go up to 20 seconds. This may look like more like 5 seconds or 10 seconds. And pressing, rolling up into swan. Because our hands are very high, you probably won't have your arms fully extended here unless your low back is incredibly flexible. Good, and just breathing deeply into the stretch, and the arms are still working here, supporting the body as well as the low back. And pressing back into that rest pose. And let's do this again. Go ahead and come back into that plank position. Shift the body weight forward and lower down, holding right here, the chest suspended between the blocks. Challenge yourself to come as low as is comfortable and possible here. And make sure that you are breathing deeply, inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. Good, go ahead and extend into that swan. During these challenging holds, we want to make sure that we are breathing, and that breath should be more audible and not less. So we want to make sure we're not holding our breath. That's when our body needs oxygen the most. Good, press the hips back and away. And stretch into child's pose and breathe. Awesome job with your full body workout at the bar and on the mat with yoga blocks. This is the Bennie Barre Pilates Studio. Check out my channel for more workouts. You can find here bar workouts, mat Pilates workouts, springboard Pilates, and tons of Pilates with props. And if you would like to see more workouts with these yoga blocks, let me know in the comments below. Subscribe and hit that notification bell if you want to make sure that you catch every single one of my videos that's coming out. I will see you guys next time in the studio.